What's going on, YouTube? I am very excited to bring you guys today's video, which is coverage of my new AR-15 build. Well, calling it my build isn't necessarily accurate, as this rifle is going to be assembled entirely from parts donated by you guys, the viewers. So this all started a few weeks ago when I posted on my Instagram page about an idea that I've had rolling around for a while, and that was to build the ultimate parts bin gun. If you're not familiar with what a parts bin gun is, it's the result of when somebody like me builds many AR-15s over several years to the point where I've upgraded so many different parts and swapped so many things out on my builds that I have enough spare parts laying around to build an entirely new rifle. And while that's not necessarily a new idea by any means, the twist I decided to put on it was that I'm not going to build it out of just my parts bin. I'm going to build this rifle out of many different parts bins. So what I did was I put up a list of basic AR-15 components that are needed to build, your run-of-the-mill AR. I gave some very loose guidelines on things like the caliber and the barrel length, because I wanted to avoid having an NFA item, and I didn't want it to be a weird caliber, so we're just sticking with 5.56. But other than that, I said, if you have one of these components just laying around, mail it to me, and I will credit you in the video. And also, once this gun is complete, the gun will be given away to somebody, and all proceeds from the giveaway will go to charity, which I also let you guys choose. You guys decided to vote for St. Jude's Children's Hospital, which I think is a great charity. That's one that's very near and dear to my heart. So again, to reiterate, I was not just asking for a free rifle. I wasn't asking for free parts to build myself a rifle. 100% of the proceeds from this, because I'm not keeping this rifle, I'm going to do a giveaway at Clone Shoot 2024. So unfortunately, it will only be able to be won by somebody attending. All proceeds from the giveaway are going to go to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. So all that I get from this is the fun of assembling a new rifle, which I think is a fair trade for kind of the effort put into coordinating all of this. So starting off, I'm going to put a list up on the screen of everybody who donated and what part they donated. So you can see we've got quite a few different people here. We've actually also got some local businesses who, as I went around town and I was telling all of my local gun stores that I frequent about this project, they all wanted to kind of pitch in with their own contribution to this project, which I appreciate immensely. So starting off with Sigwo Arms out of Springfield, Missouri. They donated the lower receiver for this gun. They also donated a Cerakote job, and they did that for the upper, the lower, the handguard, and the buffer tube. So all of those parts actually are going to match, and it's going to look like a brand new factory rifle when it's all assembled. They were also gracious enough to do a custom engraving with my logo on it, which they have infilled with FDE in black, just like my logo. And something else kind of cool that they did the serial number, because this is their brand of lower. They can make the serial number whatever they want. They made it IR, or Inferior Rifles 001. So whoever wins this is going to have a true one-of-a-kind gun down to the serial number. So hopefully whoever wins it appreciates that to some degree. Sigwo also donated a lower parts kit. You can see some of that I already have installed. I actually asked Sigwo if they would install some of these parts, like the front pivot pin, the bolt catch, the mag release. I wanted the stuff that I'm really likely to scratch the gun while installing already installed for me. Because while I've assembled a lot of AR-15s and I don't typically scratch things, I had the feeling that this would be the one time when I would gouge this pretty Cerakote job. So, but yeah, they also donated the remaining lower parts to complete this lower. So huge shout out to Sigwo Arms. For anyone wondering, this color is Multicam Bright Green Cerakote. I believe this is one of the colors used in the palette for Multicam Tropic. I was looking through different greens because I really wanted to do the rifle in green because it's just a color I don't get the opportunity to use a lot on builds. And this one caught my eye. It kind of reminds me of Noveski's Bazooka Green, if any of you are familiar with that. So again, the upper, lower, buffer tube, and handguard all were coated in one sitting, which is part of why the process to assemble this gun has taken a little longer than expected, because I had to wait till I actually received all of those components to go have them Cerakoted. So moving on to the upper, this is actually an upper manufactured by FN, as indicated by FN's cage code, though it also has Colt's C stamp on it. And I had to do a little research on this to figure out why that is. This is actually a fairly old upper that back before FN had actual military contracts to assemble or produce M4A1s or M16s for the military, They were actually one of a few contracted companies that would make these parts for Colt for their rifles. So kind of an interesting piece of history. This upper comes to us from @Code1Arms on Instagram. So huge shout out to Code 1 Arms for donating this. This is not necessarily a cheap upper. This is actually a fairly nice upper. And as you can see, matches the lower perfectly. So we will set that aside. Next up, I'm going to go over the Handguard. And I will zoom out just a little bit for this. So this is a Troy handguard, as you can see. It is their 13-inch M-Lock 556 rail in black, or originally it was black. But of course, it is now multicam bright green. So this was donated by 417 Guns in Springfield, Missouri. I've known the owner there for a very long time. He is a very generous guy and did not hesitate to offer a nice handguard for this rifle. What's cool about these Troy handguards is they actually attach to a standard AR-15 barrel nut. You just have to strip off the delta ring assembly to where it's just the bare barrel nut. And it accomplishes attaching to that with 4 pretty beefy screws. So this should be a really solid rail to give us a mounting surface for accessories. Which actually, some accessories were donated as well, so I'll cover those. And I just have a list of all the donors here just off screen on my laptop, so bear with me if I have to scroll through this a little to find it. So again, thank you to 417 Guns for donating this very nice rail. And then moving on to the barrel. The barrel is a Centurion Arms 14.5-inch 1-in-7 twist barrel, and it actually came with a pinned gas block assembly, which is also stepped back here. I'm not sure if you guys can really see that. But it has a little indexing notch that ensures that the gas block stays straight, and you really don't even have to pay attention when you're installing it. It's always going to be lined up with the gas port. It also came with a Daniel Defense gas tube and roll pin, so that's very nice. The barrel was donated by @CE Bing. He also donated our bolt carrier group for this rifle, so I'll just show that really quickly. So this is an AO Precision BCG. It's a mil-spec bolt carrier group. It's actually fairly nice. You can see it has a little bit of use on it, but again, that is the idea of building a parts bin gun, is it's going to have some used parts, some that are new, but this is a nice part. The gas rings are still good on it. It doesn't collapse under its own weight. The staking on the gas key is nice. So I have no doubts that this will work very well for our build. But getting back to the barrel, this is topped off with a Surefire War Comp, which was donated by @Bu5050. So hopefully the winner of this rifle has a Surefire suppressor of some kind, because that's going to be really their go-to option if they want to suppress it. As I mentioned before, this is a 14.5-inch barrel, so in order to not have this as a short-barreled rifle and therefore an NFA item, I did have a local shop pin and weld the barrel to permanently affix the muzzle device to it. That's why everything, like the barrel nut and the gas block's already installed. But this was pinned and welded by Anderson Gun Repair in Springfield, Missouri, who also donated the pin and weld job for free. So huge shout out to Anderson. I didn't even ask them to do that when I dropped off the barrel. I was just going to pay for that out of pocket. But today, when I went to go pick this barrel up, they told me it was going to be no charge. They're also the same gun shop that did the barrel crown and profiling work on my HK417 project, and they did a fantastic job on that. So I definitely recommend them, especially if you're local in the Springfield area. So moving on to our next part here. Of course, for the upper receiver, you need a charging handle. This was donated by @HonkyKong 3.0. So this is actually a really, really nice charging handle. It's a Geisley Airborne charging handle. And not only that, it's the government model. It only has the part number engraved on it. And that's it. There's no Geisley logo. These are actually slightly harder to find than the standard version that has the Geisley logo engraved on it. So again, just cool touches. This is more in line with what I normally build, is like government contract, military, style ARs. So this I was really excited to see in my mailbox. And moving on to the sights, and I'll go ahead and show the vertical grip as well. We had some Magpul M-Bus Pros, also in green. They just happen to be green, so they'll match the rifle pretty well. And then an M-Lock vertical foregrip. These were donated by @Naymeister on Instagram. So huge shout out to him. I love the fact that this rifle is going to be fully accessorized. And speaking of accessories, this rifle is going to have an optic, although when I'm giving the rifle away at Clone Shoot, it's not going to have the optic at that point. The optic is being donated by Otter Weapon Works, or Joel. I've spoken about him several times here on the channel. He graciously offered a Vortex 1x4, I think it's a Crossfire scope, which is kind of the perfect type of optic for this type of build, a 14.5 with an LPVO. Really hard to beat. And it's going to come with a mount and everything, so I won't know exactly what that's going to look like until Joel is done moving, because that's why I don't have the scope yet. He is currently moving halfway across the country, so as soon as he's done with that and he has time to ship that out, he'll either send it to me or he'll send it to the winner, depending on when that is. But this build will have an optic. So I believe that is all of the parts for the upper receiver. So moving on to the lower, we just have a couple more parts to cover. So of course we have the lower itself from Sigwo Arms. We have the lower parts kit, also from Sigwo Arms. You'll notice that the lower parts kit is missing a fire control group though. The fire control group was donated by Terra Tactical in Springfield, Missouri, who is a good friend of mine. He has donated a JP Rifle Works fire control group, which is a very nice trigger to just simply give away to somebody. So huge shout out to him, complete with their competition springs and trigger and hammer pins. He's also donated a ambi safety from Schmid, is the manufacturer. And this is a pretty nice part. I actually like these style of safety levers on ARs, where it has a full-length lever on your support side, but it's scalloped out so that when you're shooting, it's not digging into your finger. It's actually scalloped out for when your trigger finger is laying over it. So that is pretty cool. All right, so moving on to the buffer tube assembly. This was donated by @Block2FSP on Instagram. As you can see, the buffer tube has been coated to match the receivers. He donated, this is originally an FDE buffer tube from Thoroughbred Armament, I believe. He has included a buffer and carbine spring, as well as a BCM QD sling end plate. Again, when I started kind of pondering what this rifle was going to be, I expected to get the most cursed, mismatched, frankly ugly rifle ever, and you guys have thoroughly shocked me with how nice this build is going to turn out. So thank you guys so much for that. I can't even begin to state how much that means to me, that you guys are donating not just, you know, cheap, worn down parts, but actually nice components for this build, and that you guys have shown just as much passion for it as I have, even though I get to have the fun of building it. Next, we're going to move on to the stock. This is a Voltor stock. I forget the actual model on this. I think it's the E-Mod stock. I'll annotate it here if that's not correct. This is coming from @Clone Rifles, you know, the Clone Rifles, who's hosting the Clone Rifles shoot next week. So huge shout out to him. This is not a cheap stock by any means. And this is going to go perfectly with this B5 Systems pistol grip, which is actually still new in the package, funny enough. This pistol grip was donated by @Bu5050. So the same gentleman who donated the Surefire War Comp also included this in the package. So we're going to have kind of a cool two-tone gun here with the green and the black. And let me just check through and make sure that I included everybody who donated. All right, so I believe that that is everybody that has donated. Again, I'll throw the list up on the screen for those of you that want to peek at that and just see the full build list before I assemble it. Unfortunately, due to changing policies here on this platform, I don't believe I can actually show the assembly. So what I'm going to do instead is go out and assemble it in my garage, and then when I come back, I will have the completed product. And we are back with the finished product. So once again, I just want to thank everybody who donated parts to this rifle, everyone who offered to donate parts to this rifle, as well as the local businesses who reached out and donated parts and services to make this build happen. I couldn't have done it without all you guys. I guess that's kind of the idea of this build. It really does mean a lot to me that so many people reached out. I was actually able to choose on several of the components on this for multiple choices because I would have viewers offering to donate the same category of part. And I can honestly say I did not expect that. So thank you guys so much. That is amazing. I mean, I can't believe that even with my small, meager following, I still have enough people watching who enjoy my content and want to be a part of it to make something like this happen. I mean, we as a collective community birthed a new rifle into existence. So while you have that uncomfortable image in your head, I'm just going to say, lastly, that I am stoked how this rifle turned out. This is the type of rifle that I would personally own if I wanted something for a duty rifle or home defense gun or even just a fun range toy. Though, unfortunately, I don't get to keep this rifle. One of you guys who is attending Clone Shoot 2024 is going to keep it. And you will have to wait until the day of the shoot if you're attending to find out how. And again, all proceeds from the giveaway, because there will be a cost to enter into the giveaway. All proceeds 100% are going to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. I will be posting some better pictures of this gun, along with proof of the donation after the clone shoot, on my backup Instagram page, @InferiorRiflesV2. So head down to the description, click the link there so you can follow me on my backup page. Don't forget to like and comment on the video, and also subscribe so you don't miss my next upload, which will be covering the clone shoot itself. I'll be showing all the events throughout the day, all the cool guns that will be there. It's going to be a really cool upload. I was really proud of how the last one turned out when I filmed it for Clone Shoot 2022. So thank you guys for watching. I will catch you in the next one.